that, of course, is a story for another day, and I'll see you, and we'll talk about that down the road. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, you got the show Bill Schuyler here from One Wrestling in the Big Slam Nation, here to talk all about NXT's Takeover in Dallas. My God, this card lived up to everything and anything you had thought it was going to be. And I'm going to say it right now, I defy the WWE's main roster on Raw and SmackDown on WrestleMania Sunday night to try and match the excitement, the crowd participation, the technicality, the brutality, the out and out abilities that these ladies and gentlemen in the NXT roster put forth in this event. This was mind-blowing. This was one of the best cards of the year. Let's get right into it. We had a lot of things going on. We had some surprises, and let's just jump right into it. We had the opening match, NXT Takeover again in Dallas. The tag team titles on the line. The Revival, Dash and Dawson, going up against Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, American Alpha. Oh my Lord, these guys opened this card up, and anybody that had to follow this match, I didn't know if it was going to be possible. These guys tore the ring up, and they did it all. They wrestled, they brawled, they did it all, my friends. This was a 21st century version of the Rockers versus the Brainbusters. There was brawling, it was technical wrestling, and just Dash and Dawson were able to get into their groove after the initial outpouring by American Alpha and how they were dominating, and then they cut that ring in half and they started working over their opponents like they normally do, one body part at a time, frequent tags in, multiple pin attempts, and this match just continued to go back and forth, and out of nowhere, ladies and gentlemen, American Alpha got the pin, and we have new NXT Tag Team Champions. All I gotta say right now is, do not let this be one and done. This needs to be a long, ongoing feud, going back and forth, trading the titles back and forth amongst the Revival and American Alpha, the two greatest tag teams in the WWE universe, period. We had the ability to get the crowd scan out there. We saw good old JR, Jim Ross was in the crowd. We saw X-Pac and Scott Hall. And then one of the greatest shocking moments of the night, early on, Kota Ibushi in the crowd along with the Japanese translator, trainer, and All About Escort, who was handled not only Shinsuke Nakamura, but Hideo Itami and Asuka as well. My dollars on the table, ladies and gentlemen. I'm putting them down that Kota Ibushi will sign with NXT if he's not already signed right now. One of the greatest free agents in the Japan market. He is one of the absolute brightest stars in the wrestling business today, and he is a perfect fit for the type of wrestling company that Triple H is building here in NXT. We then had match number 2. It was Baron Corbin going up against Austin Aries. Austin Aries, the greatest man who ever lived. Aries was on fire, and this crowd was bombastic. Aries just laying it on the line, taking everything he could and just destroying Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, it would go back and forth. Corbin, in my opinion, has truly become the heel of NXT. He had great ring psychology in this match, tremendous heat with the fans, just talking back and forth, getting into it individually with one guy after another in that crowd from the ring, talking nonstop trash to Austin Aries throughout the match and the referee. This was just one of the best matches in Corbin's career. Austin Aries was just outstanding. And again, like I said, Baron Corbin did get control of the match for a while, and he was laying the beat down on a double. But the tide turned, and it was a brutalizing a double from this point forward. Aries come back with drop kicks, suicide dives. Corbin, of course, was not one to be over and done that quickly. He hit a deep six on Aries outside on the floor. Aries barely making it back into the ring at like 9.9 seconds. He got back in that ring, laying there and just begging, calling for Corbin to bring it on. And they would continue to go at it, and then Aries out of the blue doing what he does best, ladies and gentlemen. That is winning matches against opponents bigger than him, stronger than him, guys that they say he can't get it done. Austin Aries wins cleanly over Baron Corbin for the 1, the 2, and the 3. Your winner, A double Austin Aries, the greatest man who ever lived. NXT Championship gold will be around this man's waist very, very soon. We then had match number 3. How did we follow these matches? They're just out of control. We get, here we go. Sami Zayn going up against the king of strong style, Shinsuke Nakamura. The crowd was hot for Sami Zayn when he came out. But when Nakamura's new music hit, and it's a little odd not hearing his normal song. It's going to take a while to get used to the entrance. I know a lot of people out there were complaining about it, but you know what? Entrance music doesn't mean squat to me. It's what goes on in the ring. And Shinsuke Nakamura came into NXT, and he came into this match to make a statement, and ladies and gentlemen, a statement tonight was made. This crowd here was definitely 50-50. Chants going forth for Zayn, chants going for Nakamura. The ole ole is going throughout. It started out with both guys feeling each other out with a little back and forth, and then the crowd started going, Shinsuke's gonna kill you. And then it became an amazing hard strike exchange of strong style, kicks, submission holds. Sami Zayn lost it and went almost basically full-blown nasty heel, just tearing in to Nakamura. He hit him with the Blue Thunder for a 2.9.999. Should have almost was a 3 count. And everybody in that arena thought the match was over right then and there, but Nakamura kicked out. Nakamura would come back with continued strikes, and this match was just complete brutality. Nakamura shaking and doing everything that he does, and no matter what it was, Sami Zayn could not beat Nakamura, and it would come down to Shinsuke Nakamura striking with a Kennesaw for the 1, 2, 3, beating Sami Zayn, who was damn near unconscious on the mat. Nakamura makes his way over, waiting for him to kind of get the cobwebs cleared, extends that hand to shake, and it took quite a while for Sami Zayn to accept that handshake. He pulled himself up by the ropes at first, got up in his face, and looked like things were going to continue to go on in this match. And he then accepted the handshake, and Nakamura left the ring, and Sami Zayn looked visibly upset, really decimated by the fact that he lost this match, lost what his ability, his chance, his opportunity to becoming the two-time NXT champion. As we know, he's going to be in the 7-man ladder match for the Intercontinental title on the main roster at WrestleMania Sunday night. This, for all intents and purposes, was Sami Zayn's last appearance in NXT. Again, as upset as he was, the crowd then began to go into the ole, ole, and Sami Zayn got his smile back, waved to the fans, and the night was over, and we were given a gift by the wrestling gods, one of the greatest matches by one of the greatest wrestlers, and two of the greatest wrestlers in the world. But Nakamura is hands and shoulders above almost every professional wrestler in the business today, in this reporter's opinion. And again, we just had one fantastic match after another here on the main card. Whew, what a match, and God bless anybody that had to follow this match. And it was going to be the Women's Championship match. Bayley defending against Asuka. And I'm just telling you, nobody was going to be able to follow this match and the intensity that occurred at that time. The crowd was so spent, so built up. This was just out of control. And we then got a match that was very different from what we're accustomed to seeing with Bayley and with Asuka. This was not a hard-hitting match. This was not a high-flying match. This was not one of those fantastic women exchange matches doing all kinds of, high spots and whatnot. No, we wound up with basically a submission match. It was one submission after another by both women in a completely unreal contest, and these women getting these submission holds on, near falls, near tap outs, getting out of the holds, things just going back and forth. Again, just a completely unexpected style, and Asuka would get in the Asuka lock on Bayley, and she had it on Bayley, and Bayley would not tap, and Bayley passed out, completely unresponsive in the ring. The referee called it, and your new women's champion for NXT is Asuka. This match, I'm sure we're going to get a rematch. Bayley did not tap. She did not quit. She did not submit. Her body just gave out on this, and she completely passed out via the Asuka lock. Ladies and gentlemen, Asuka is one of the most brutal, technically sound, all-around wrestlers in the business. She can do it all in that ring. She is a dangerous opponent, and she is going to cause a lot of hurt, a lot of broken dreams, and she's going to destroy a lot of opponents before she winds up relinquishing this women's title. I do not see anyone beating Asuka for this title for quite a while. I don't believe Bayley is going to regain her title in a rematch, if there even is one. Situation with Bayley, we do not know, other than the fact, again, she was unresponsive, she was unconscious, and this was a definite different style, very unique match. It brought things down a bit, but it was exciting as hell, just because the ability of these women are, again, outstanding in what the women's division here at NXT are capable of doing. And let's just see what this 10 woman blonde versus bad whatever it be in WrestleMania is going to be with Total Divas, and that they're not going to be able to hold a candle to this match or any other between any of the girls who have come up from NXT. Wait and see, my friends. All the superstars of WrestleMania are all going to be the people that came up from NXT, guaranteed. And we're going to talk about that Sunday night. Big Slam Nation review of WrestleMania. But that's a story for a couple days from now, a little bit down the road. We then had wow, we got a new women's champion. We have new tag team champions. What would be next, my friends, is the main event, the NXT title match. Samoa Joe going up against Finn Balor. Joe coming out in complete warrior mode, ready to destroy. That look in his eyes was utter hatred. He was just visibly displaying, just oozing, not machismo, my friends. He was just oozing violence and hatred. Joe was ready to destroy Finn Balor for this title. Then the Demon's music would hit, and Finn Balor came out in full demon regalia. And being in Texas, my friends, what else would the monster, the demon, have? He had a chainsaw, because the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was in effect. That's right, I'm sure it confused a lot of folks out there, but an old school guy like me got that bang right away. I was like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface, let's get it on. And he made his way down to the ring, not with a chainsaw, got rid of that, picked up that title belt, made it down to the ring. And once that bell hit, it was fist and fury. This was a match that was in and out of the ring. Joe was beating the hell out of Finn Balor, tossing him all around the ring, throwing him out of the ring. And Balor was not taking it. He was coming back in and fighting Joe with everything he had. This was an intense, all-out, go-for-it match. Joe wound up with a bad cut over his eye. Originally, they thought it was by a fist thrown by Balor, but apparently it was a headbutt. Early on in the match, they had the doctors out there trying to clear the blood because Joe was juicing all over the place. It was a bad cut, and anytime that's near the eye, it's a dangerous situation. Joe kept pushing him away. He didn't want attention. Got to one point that the crowd just started chanting, "Let Joe bleed, let Joe bleed." This crowd was completely out of control in this match, wanting to see more and more of what they already had been given throughout this night at TakeOver Dallas. And these two men did not disappoint. Joe would do a suicide dive, hitting Balor, putting him through and tearing up the outer railings around the ring. Joe was dominating and just unleashing his entire offensive repertoire against Finn Balor. And Balor would come back with his offense, and Joe just could not pin Finn Balor no matter what he did. He couldn't get him in his submission holds. He couldn't pin him with the hits and the strikes that he was doing. Joe was completely and utterly in full Joe destruction mode. It got to the point he grabbed into a crossface. He had him. First he had him. Joe had him, Finn Balor, in the crab. He had him in a Boston Crab, tearing it down, and then flipped it around. Got him in a crossface, tearing it into it. Balor would not submit. Balor got out of it, and he would get free and do the double stomp on Joe. Joe then would get hit with the sling blade, the drop kick, but then Joe, bang, hit him, took control of it, got him up. He was on the top rope trying to make a strike against Joe, got him into the muscle buster. Joe completely hit the muscle buster perfectly on Finn Balor, and it was 1, 2, and Finn Balor kicked out again. Joe's face was in complete and utter shock. The look in his eyes was something I've never seen in all my years of being a Samoa Joe fan. I haven't seen this look on his face before. They continued to go back and forth with strikes after strikes, and Joe got hit with the Pele kick, and then both men, with that, both strikes, they were out on the mat. Joe got up, I believe, at 7. Finn got up at 9. And then, my friends, the Demon let out a roar. He got up like he raised from the grave. He hit the sling blade and the coup de grace. Joe then managed to get him in the coquina clutch, and Finn Balor kicked off of the turnbuckles backwards, knocking Joe down, got Joe on top of him, and held him down for the 1, 2, 3. Samoa Joe, ladies and gentlemen, pinned cleanly in the ring. Your champion retains. Finn Balor, clean. No interference, ladies and gentlemen. All night long, I'm looking down that aisle for the Bullet Club to make their way up. Nobody coming up. All these doctors in attendance kept coming for Joe. I kept expecting to see Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson coming out and then have them just beat Joe down. Didn't happen. Joe completely, utterly shocked. And he just rolled out of the ring and left. He got up halfway up that ramp and then turned around, and then the anger started, and he started making his way back to the ring. And I'm still looking, and I'm expecting, all right, he's gonna call out the guys, because I didn't mention earlier, as Finn came out and when he dropped the chainsaw, he threw up the Too Sweet sign for the Bullet Club, my friends, and I thought for sure they were going to make their presence felt tonight. Maybe it's going to be WrestleMania. Maybe it's going to be Raw. They're coming soon. The Bullet Club is real. But they weren't there tonight. Finn Balor proved yet again that he doesn't need to have backup to be the champion that he is. What happens with Samoa Joe from this point on, I do not know. I believe this feud, ladies and gentlemen, is over. It's time for a new opponent to come forward for Finn Balor. Samoa Joe has had ample opportunity to defeat the champion, and I believe that time is over. That, my friends, is everything and anything that transpired during the main event, the main show for this event, with one thing I left out, my friends, out of all the other stars that were there in the crowd and all the other people. Right at the end, lo and behold, who was there in the audience? One of the top free agents in the world today. The longest reigning TNA Impact Wrestling champion of all time. One of the greatest tag team champions of all time. Who am I talking about? I am talking about Canada's own Bobby Roode. That's right, my friends, and they called him Bobby Roode. They said who he was. They said who they didn't mention TNA, but they mentioned the free agent that he was now ready and out there. Bobby Roode, my friends. Boom, another one that's going to be signing any day now with NXT. Whew, tremendous. I'm telling you, Triple H is changing professional wrestling, like it or not. I, my friends, am loving it. He's turning NXT into the greatest wrestling promotion on the planet. Like it or not. And with what's going on with New Japan Pro Wrestling, with Triple H working his way in, you got Ibushi there, you got Nakamura, you got Asuka, you got all these things. You got Jim Ross there, who's working for New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access TV. Competition for the WWE, and he's an announcer that goes up on Friday nights every week. They got Jim Ross there. I'm telling you, Triple H is working on things. I foresee them coming into a working relationship very similar to what WCW and New Japan had back years ago, and what Ring of Honor and New Japan Wrestling have today. New Japan Pro Wrestling is the number 2 promotion in the world. Number 1 is the WWE universe, period, including NXT and everything else. Vince McMahon, my friends, is not going to be here forever. And when it comes down to what's being built and how this company is being changed from the bottom up, greatness is what is occurring and what is growing. And again, you don't like it, learn to love it, because it's the best thing going. I am the show, Bill Schuyler. Follow me at You Got This Show on Twitter. Follow the boss, the icon, the Hall of Famer himself, Bill Apter, at Apter One Wrestling. Follow my compatriots, my amigos, my buddies, my friends, my partners at One Wrestling in the Big Slam Nation. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Big Ray at Big Ray's show. I'm talking about Billy Ray Valentine. Follow him at Billy Ray Hustle. I'm talking about the dirtiest in the city, 8-Track Brown. Follow him at Pharaoh of Fancy. I'm talking about the Nature Boy, Snapchat extraordinaire, Fame Black. Follow him at Fame Black. The Professor, Quintana, PROF. PW Hustle. That's where you follow him on Twitter. Connor Morgan, who is down in Texas. He was at the NXT event tonight, and he will be at WrestleMania. Lucky son of a gun. Well, let's just say, OK Fame is part of the Big Slam Nation as well, my friends, as well as the Sunday Segways. Kenny Killer. Follow him at Kenny Killer and the Sunday Segway, all part of the Big Slam Nation, all part of the One Wrestling family. Follow all of us. Follow us at Big Slam Nation on Twitter. And ladies and gentlemen, that's everything I got to give you. It's been one hell of a night. This was one card that had me from Jump Street, and I'm going to tell you, I marked out off the charts when Nakamura came out, and that match, oh my God, it was like I was there live. I was yelling, screaming, chanting, doing the whole thing, brother, and I could care less. I'm a pro wrestling mark. Call me what you will. I love professional wrestling, and you love professional wrestling. That's why we're here to talk about pro wrestling. So leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought about this TakeOver Dallas event by NXT. All the matches, what you wanted to see, what you were glad you saw, maybe what you didn't want to see, who you didn't want to win. Give me what you got. I want to hear about it. Subscribe, like us, and brother, follow us. Also check out the PW Hustle podcast on Podbean. That's for adults only, and that's just something you got to experience for yourself. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you at the matches, and I will definitely see you down the road.